Hello guys, in this tutorial we are going to take a look at Flexbox. So what basically Flexbox is a CSS styling property through which we can lay out uh, our components in the web page very effectively. Okay, so this is the template of the HTML document, and it just occurred right now. It doesn't have anything, just a div container, div, and inside the div we do div tag. I have an h1 tag which says Flexbox. Okay, and I have that running on the local server right here. Yeah, so let's begin with it. What is exactly is Flexbox? Okay, so what I'll do is inside this division I'll create some child elements such as I'll name this element as box 1, the next one as a box 2, and the next one as box 3. Okay, and again to each of these boxes I'll assign a class is equals to box, and to the parent I have assigned a class as container. So the class is box, and again, and why we are specifying the same class name, because we will be applying the same styling on all these three child elements. Okay, so let's take a look now. Yeah, I have all the three boxes right here, but they are not styled up right currently. Let's style them. Okay, so to our body, to our entire document we'll give a margin of 0 so that there is no default margin present. Okay. Hmm. Then to the container, we'll assign a color, background color. Okay, first we'll assign the width. Width, the container, I'll assign the width of 100 view width. Okay, and the height as 100 view height, so that our container takes the entire screen width and screen height. Okay, right now we are not able to distinguish it, but let's specify one more property such as background color, which is light blue, and let's take light blue. Okay, so also we will specify a border, solid 2 pixel red. Yeah, so there you show. Okay, some scrolling has been added. As you can see, we are able to scroll the box now, but that shouldn't happen. But that has happened due to the border that we have applied of 2 pixels. So what we'll do is we'll apply one property called box sizing as border box. Okay, so okay, let's let's inspect this. Yeah, so we have there, and let's just close the inspect mode. Okay, let's run it in inspect mode only. Okay, so we have the container over here, the container which we see, and but the boxes are not yet styled as of now. So let's do something for the box. We'll apply a width of 250 pixel. Okay, and a height of 250 pixels, so that is looks like a square box, but let us give us a border as well, border of solid 1 pixel and black. Okay, there we got the border on our boxes, and also let's specify a background color of, yeah. Okay, so these are our three boxes right there. But the thing is, the text box 1, box 2, and box 3, we are not able to see it yet because of the color contrast. So let provide a color to our box text, which is white. and the font size as well to the font size of 24 pixel so that it's visible. Yeah, as you can see, we have our box 1, box 2, and box 3 with us. Okay. All right, so what we'll be doing currently is in this container that you see, the blue box, we will be aligning our child boxes, box 1, box 2, and box 3 in various different, you can say, axes or positions without the help of any block or inline or positioning styling. Okay, all will be done using flex property. So let's begin. To our container, which is the parent, we'll apply a display as flex. So take a look what happens. Yeah, all the boxes are aligned in a horizontal axis. How did that happen? Okay, let's also inspect it once. Yeah, so this is our parent container and these are the child containers. Okay, so as we all know, para is by default a block level element. Okay, so how does that all the para elements are aligned in a single axis? Okay, that is because of the property that we have assigned. If I remove the flex property, it again becomes a block level element, as you can see. Okay, so if we want to align all the items in a single axis, let's say x-axis, we apply the property called display flex. Okay, and by and the next property is to access any properties of the flex box. First we have to make the display property of the box of any class of any element basically as display flex. Next is the flex direction, which is I'll keep it to row. Okay, so you'll see no changes happening. Yeah, right. Why is that? Because even if we don't specify a flex direction and we just specify display flex, the default flex direction which the class takes is the row itself. So even if we don't specify row, it will take a row. A row stands for the horizontal axis. That means all the items or elements, child elements, will be aligned in the horizontal axis. Okay, and if I change that to column, let's see what happens. Yeah, all the items will now be aligned in a vertical axis. So okay, that's what flex direction specifies, and there are some more properties as well. Let's take a look. Row reverse, what does row reverse do? So yeah, row reverse has aligned all my child elements to the reverse direction of where the row starts from. The box 1 at end, box 2 at the second last, and the box 3 at its appropriate position. And let's check out column reverse. As you can see, it the initial position which it was present at when the direction was column, it's been reversed now. All right, so let's for the time being, let's make it to row only. Yeah. Okay, so next Flexbox property that we're going to take a look at is justify content. So what justify content does? Justify content specifies that along the horizontal axis. Okay, now there is a very important point to keep in mind. If the flex direction is if the flex direction is row, okay, then justify content stands for x axis and align items stand for y axis. Okay, we'll take a look at these two properties. So justify content is how we can align items along the x-axis when the flex direction is row. Okay, so there are certain properties available such as center. Let's try center first. Okay, so what center did is it shift the entire child elements to the center of the parent, which is our container, the parent, and all these three are the child of this container. Okay, some other properties are flex start, which will align it as at the start. Next is flex end, which will align it as end. See, flex end and row reverse are both different. In row reverse, box one will be positioned at the last. Okay, but in the flex end property, uh, we are not reversing the content. We are just assigning all the items to the end of the flex box. Okay, and some other property to take a look is space around. Okay, so it divides the spaces in equal parts. Okay, then there is space between will will allocate equal spaces between each of the child components, and there is space evenly then. Okay, so if you see the space on the left hand side of box 1 and the right hand side of box 1 is even, and it goes same for the box 2 and box 3 as well. Okay, so these are some basic properties of justify content. Right now what I'll do is I'll make it to center. Then align items is the next property. So what align items does, when the flex direction is row, align items basically aligns our child components in y direction, y axis. Okay, so I'll also make it a center for now, and let's take what. Yeah, so as you can see, with respect to x-axis, our child components, that is the box 1, 2 and 3 are in center, and with respect to y-axis also, all our child component is also in center. Okay, so if I specify space around to the x-axis, what will happen? Yeah, around the x-axis it will get space around. However, with respect to the y-axis, it will be positioned at center. Okay, center to with respect to its parent, and because the height of the parent is the entire screen height, hence it is aligned at the center. Okay, yeah, so let's do something. uh, let's change the flex direction to column now, and we'll take a look at how it does affect our positioning. Okay, so as you can see, the flex direction is column now, and for the time being I'll come remove these two property. Okay, now when the flex direction is column, when the flex direction is column, justify content specifies the alignment with respect to y-axis, and align items specifies the alignment with respect to x-axis. Okay, so since our boxes are in column direction, let's assign the justify content property. Okay, so justify content property will align them in vertical axis. So in the vertical axis, what we want is we want the box items to be present at the center. Okay, so there it goes. Within the vertical axis, when the flex direction is column, justify content specifies what the alignment will be with respect to y-axis. Y-axis. Next, if I specifies align items now, it will specify the alignment with respect to the horizontal axis, which is the x-axis, because the flex direction has been column now. Now I'll also make it a center. Yeah, so that's the magic of Flexbox. You can just change the direction, and you can specify uh, with respect to axis what configurations do you want. Let's suppose I change the justify content property to space around, and yeah, all the elements are spaced around. And And yeah, so that's how Flexbox works. And the flex, so these are some very basic properties. To make a container flexible, we make display as flex, then the flex direction is column, and then the justify content and align items are the two properties through which we can align the our child elements with respect to the x-axis and the y-axis. All right, so for the time being, I'll just revert this to row because I have to demonstrate one other property, important property of Xbox. I'll make it as space around and center. Okay. So what about these text in these para elements, the child elements, box one, box two, and box three? So if we can make these three para elements as the child of the container component, and we can align them at center, why can't we just make para as a parent now and align this box 1, box 2, and box 3 text in the center using the same flex property, right? We can do that. So what I'll do is I'll now to this box child component, I'll make the display as flex. Okay, nothing happens because there is one child only itself, and which is this box 1 text. Now to the justify content, I'll specify as center. Okay, look what happens. Yeah, with respect to the x-axis, all the three text. Now the children to this para to this box child elements are these text box 1, box 2, and box 3. And if I specify align items as center as well, let's take a look. Yeah, all the three text has been uh, aligned centered perfectly. Okay, so that's how Flexbox works. We can make nested flexing, like we specified one of the flex property to this container, and to this child elements we uh, uh, also specified the property as flex, so that we can align the content inside the child components. Okay, all right. So, and the last property of Flexbox that I'll want to show is that, okay, if we just, yeah, see, Flexbox also stands for flexible container. If we increase or decrease the size of our screen, the box will also gets flexible, and they will also squeeze or expand in size. Okay, and the last property that I want to demonstrate quickly is to this I'll add box 4 and box 5. Okay, and I'll make it as flex start, and I'll remove the line item property for now. So if you see, if I go to the screen now, align items, also I'll remove the justify content property, and I'll increase the size of this boxes to 300 pixel, let's say, or maybe just a little more for 50. Okay, yeah, so that's how Flexbox works. All the child elements are still flexible, even if we add let's add one more box to, which is box 6. Yeah, so we can add as many child elements, and Flexbox will automatically assign them, uh, because it's a flexible container. So these were the some basic properties of Flexbox: flex, display flex, flex direction, justify content, and align items. In the next video tutorial, we'll be taking a look at the some of the more features of Flexbox, that the child elements of which can be assigned to the child elements of Flexbox. Okay, thank you.